So for this transformation of curve, look what happens when we transform a graph from f of x to minus f of x. So I've sketched in the line f of x, where f of x equals x plus 2. Well, the meaning of minus f of x is to find this value and then change its sign over. So we put x in, and then when f of x comes out, we change its sign. So it's a bit like saying what was xy becomes x minus y. So let's have a look what I mean by that then. So suppose we put in f of 1. F of 1 originally is at 3, but we've got to do minus f of 1, so that becomes minus 3. So instead of going to 1 as 3, minus f of x graph goes to 1 minus 3. And then 2, 4 would go to 2 minus 4. So every y value has its sign changed. So the effect of this is to reflect through the x-axis. So if you're asked to do a reflection from f of x, so if you're asked to do a transformation, f of x maps to minus f of x, then you reflect f of x through the x-axis. And you can see that's what's occurred here. So, for example, minus 3, 1 would become minus 3 plus 1. So the y coordinates change under this transformation, which amounts to a reflection through the x-axis. Now, if we move on to like its partner, if you like, if we look at f of x mapping to f of minus x, I always find this one slightly more complicated to explain. One way I explain it is if you know the previous one is through the x-axis, then this one must be through the y. But I'll try and show you exactly why that's the case now. So if we take the same graph, which went through 2 and minus 2, then if I put minus 2 into a graph here, I'm going to have f of minus 2, and that minus and minus gives me a plus. So f of minus 2 in the first graph has the same value as the plus 2 in the other graph. So I've kind of swapped across this axis, so the value swaps over. Instead of having it minus 2 naught, I'm going to have 2 naught. And this value, for example, this came at 0. So f of 0 transforms to f of minus 0, but minus 0 is simply 0. So on the 0 line, that's your reflection line, the y-axis, we don't go anywhere. And minus 1 will come across to plus 1 times value. So instead of going up to there, it will take the value that plus 1 did, and it will come up there. So you'll see now that the reflection is through the y-axis. So just to sum up then, if f of x maps to minus f of x, that's an x-axis reflection, and if f of x maps to f of minus x, then this is a y-axis reflection. Okay, so those are your two transformations that amount to reflections through the axis.